Hello, everybody, and of course, welcome back to the episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X.
And this,
You already know what to do. Like and share this broadcast. If you are on our Facebook, if you are on our Facebook page, go ahead and hit that like button as well. If you are on YouTube, please make sure you hit that red subscribe button. Hit the notification bell as well for shows like this one that you can be notified for in the future.
ding.
Thank you for that addition as well. Check us out on Twitter through Periscope at X Talking Ish and as well at X underscore Williams 81. I went ahead and retweeted it on my personal page. So there is no excuse for you not to check out tonight's episode of X Talking Ish because it is a very, very special one. I am so happy that we have this next guest on for tonight because this man here is a real Texan fan. This man bleeds that steel blue, that Liberty white, and that fiery red that the Houston Texans have. And I don't know about my boy Ish here, but I can feel the energy here in the city of Houston with the hire of
I already texted
D'Amico
you and
Ryans.
told you how I
Now
felt about it.
we'll get into that very very shortly. But before we get into that, I want to introduce my guy here, Mister William, aka Sasha Birch, depending on how you know him, who you know him from. But he is here tonight joining us. William,
Locking
can you
in.
please introduce yourself to the people?
Hey, it's your boy William, number one Texans fan that you know of. Troll sometimes. Just happy to be here. Talk about the Texans. Let's go. Let's lock in, fellas.
We appreciate you for tuning or joining us for tonight. We appreciate everybody else for tuning in
Thank you for
as
having me.
well. Another Texan fan that is on the show that joins us through, I should say, through YouTube that joins us every week is Fracture Walnut. He says, "Let's get it. This is
My
not the
boy.
Super Bowl, but the Texas Bowl." He also says, "Josue, Josue."
In the mix. In the
Yes,
mix.
sir. Yes, sir. And of course, Fracture One is talking about obviously the Super Bowl matchup, which we'll be talking about shortly. But before we talk about the conference championship games and of course the upcoming Super Bowl matchup, which we'll have plenty of weeks to talk about because of how they're going to build this up. We have plenty of time to talk about that. Let's go ahead and jump right into the biggest news, and I will say just this region of the United States here in Houston
Yeah.
when it comes to Houston Texans hiring D'Amico Ryans. Um, we have our residential Texan fan here. I want to hear from him. We're going to of course ask him questions on how he feels about it, how's the Texan Nation feels about it, and what this can potentially be for the Texans looking back on this in 5 years of this hire for D'Amico Ryan. So, William, first thing first, how do you feel about this hire of D'Amico Ryans?
Man, I feel like it was a home run hire. This he was the best candidate on the market, and we got him. So you can't really say anything about that. I mean, a lot of people. I know you saw Stephen A. Josina Anderson talking about we're dysfunctional, we're racist, but to be able to lock down D'Amico Ryan's when he was pursued by other teams, I mean, it's big, it's major. And for us, this marks our return to the NFL because before like 2020, we've been operating like a G League franchise. Weren't really a team, really didn't want to watch in and out, but we're here, we're back, hopefully. I'm not gonna say that he's gonna win a Super Bowl or anything like that, but he's gonna make us competitive again at the very least. So we're very appreciative of it. I mean, the city's hype. He was a big player for us. I mean, Cap, they called him Cap when he was here. So we're very excited. We're ready to go. Ready for the draft, ready for 2023. Let's go. Let's lock in.
Now, for the people that do tune in to X Talking Ish, especially all year long, I know a lot of people might not believe it because I am a Titans fan, but this is something that I know that I've been advocating for months now. Ish has jumped on the bandwagon as well too when it comes to getting D'Amico Ryans here to
Yeah.
Houston. It is a perfect match for both
Perfect.
for both parties involved. It is something that both parties involved in this can't look back in 4 or 5 years and say we didn't do the right thing at that right time or at that
Exactly.
time. They both did the right things. Now, what comes out of it, we'll see, of course, in 4 years.
Yeah.
If it's great or if it's good, great. If it's great, amazing. If it's bad, then continue to rebuild and move on. I mean, that's really what you can do at this point. But at least what you can do is start the foundation.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what Cal McNair did. That's what you do with hiring a guy like this. I know Ish is making a face, so I want to throw it to him.
Let's not give.
We're not gonna give too much credit. Okay, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I mean, Hannah McNair really stepped up. She stepped into the mix to help Cal make these decisions. To be honest with you, I mean, a lot of people aren't gonna see that unless you're a Texans fan, but Hannah McNair really, she had her back on that one.
Fracture Wanda says this is the best feeling of being a Texan fan since we traded up to take Deshaun Watson. And also, he says, to be honest, I thought because of the lawsuit that this day wouldn't come. So, I mean, look, the Texans aren't the only organization in the NFL to do something stupid, wrong, any of that stuff, right? So, it's let's not act like the Texans are needing to be thrown away in the NFL pits and never to try to become relevant again. I've stated before, and I was always state that it was a point in time that the Patriots were called the Pansies, right? It was a point in time that the Patriots were unbearable to watch football-wise. It was a point in time that the Buccaneers lost all of their games in the season. There was a point in time that the LA Rams again was a laughing stock. There was a point in time that some of these teams in the NFL weren't what they are. The Chiefs, they were on a 50-year drought before they won a second Super Bowl. So it is possible for you as an organization to rebound, rebuild, and recover, but it's about putting the right people in place from top all the way to the bottom, from, of course, owner, head coach, and quarterback. And I know Mr. Sasha loves him some Will Levis from Kentucky. Now, my question to you is,
and hell no!
I can't wait to have Ish.
Hey, let me state my case. Say what you need to say. I do my research.
Say what you need to say. But do you feel as though if you were in the war room with D'Amico, Cal, whoever the OC is going to be, do you go and get a quarterback to be the face of this organization moving forward, or do you try and get that sure thing as a defensive weapon to try to continue to add on to the defense with a defensive-minded coach, and then maybe find a quarterback in the third, fourth, or even fifth round that can come in there and just manage the game and give you an opportunity to win games, because you're in a division that's not that good, right? And if you can surround a low-budget quarterback with talent, you don't have to worry about giving all the money to the quarterback. You can utilize it on the defensive side and add some weapons, and you can maybe be competitive within that division, obviously, and then also within the conference, and maybe build that way. So what are your thoughts on what you would do if you was in the war room?
Well, two things. I mean, D'Amico comes from the 49ers right now, and they're playing musical chairs with their quarterback. So you really want to go get your guy, regardless. I know he's a defensive guy, but you're going to get your guy at number 2, the quarterback. And I mean, and another thing is we're doing the late round thing with Davis Mills right now, and that's not really working out. So I think you go get your quarterback, whether that be Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, or Will Levis, like I really like, but you got to get your guy at 2. Now, if you have a plan in place to, let's say you take a Will Anderson, then you package maybe that Browns pick at 12 with the Browns pick in 2024, move back up, get one of those guys too. Then you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But I think you have to get your quarterback. You have to.
Ish, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, bro. No. I agree. To an extent, I agree. You get your quarterback if you feel like one of these guys
of course. If you like
is the guy, right?
Yeah. Don't take one to just
don't take one just to take one, right? Like you really got to feel like this guy is the guy that you're going to have around for the next couple of years, right? Like there's a reason why this man is on a 6-year contract, allegedly 6-year, rumored to be 6-year, but I mean it's very likely when all said and done it's going to be a 6-year contract. There's a reason why he's on a 6-year contract. They're planning on building. They're planning on having him around for a while. I think if you think one of these guys is the guy you're going to keep around, yeah, you get one at 2. I don't like the idea of getting a Will Anderson at 2, and then trying to trade back up. Because to me, the value that the Texans have right now with all their cap and all their picks is that, like, you are a team that's rebuilding. You need that sort of capital. I would not trade up. I would stay at 12. I would get my quarterback at 2. Then at 12, I would get, whatever you need. There are so many things that you need.
So many things.
That I would do that. I would even be interested in, if you like all 3 of these guys and you're not sold on one being above the others, I would even be interested in possibly moving down at 2. Maybe move a couple spots down, pick up more draft capital. And then, whoever falls to you later in the top 10, maybe you pick that guy up.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that as well. Like, I think that there are so many ways the Texans can go. And for me, I don't necessarily think that it's a loss, whichever way they go, other than if they pick up Will Levis.
Hey, come on. There's some things to like about Will Levis. But at the same time, we have cap space opening up that we didn't have the previous 2 years. We have about, I want to say, 37 million opening up in cap. So one name I was looking at would be Deron Payne. I would throw money at him, get him. Then you can maybe pass on a Jalen Carter or somebody like that. Get your guy. Get your guy, because you have a defensive free agent coming in. And there's a couple other names too that are free agents this year. So.
I don't know if you see the question there. Josue's Fracture One says, what do you think about Slowick?
Yeah,
Slowick. He is the pass coordinator for San Fran at the moment. Another Kyle prospect.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, those guys. Yeah, they seem to look good. I mean, he was a passing game coordinator. I mean, a Kyle Shanahan system. You want that, but then there's the other name that they're interviewing. Troy, I think, from the Bengals, the wide receiver coach.
Yeah, the wide receiver coach from the Bengals.
Seems like a pretty good name too. So
and
whoever.
And then earlier, they interviewed him for a head coach, but his name has been floating around a lot. Thomas Brown from the Rams.
Yeah, Thomas Brown.
That guy, he's another one to look out for. I think it's between those 3 guys as potential offense coordinators, but more than likely, it looks like it's going to be Slowick.
Yeah, most likely.
Fracture One also says, I say we go QB, then go Brian Brees at 12, in my opinion. Lee also says, I like the thought of getting that superstar potential defensive player at 2. Then been hearing a lot of chatter about Anthony Richardson being the boom play and perfect fit at 12. This will be super interesting how they operate. Now, look, I do feel that way about Anthony Richardson because I lost money on him this year. I'm not going to talk about that. But I'm just saying that I don't know how good Anthony Richardson is going to be in the league. Now, he has that ceiling. Like, he can really be boom potential. But he did not play well at all at Florida after 2 games, after about maybe 3 games. Those first 2 or 3 games, they were like, wow, this guy could be a first-round draft pick. After that, I was like, he's just another guy. Yep. So he looks good, but he also could be playing the XFL DR King as well. So let's relax and not try to turn him into this season Malik Willis. Because that's what he could really be.
Dang, really?
If he falls to the wrong
shots at your quarterback in the future.
If he falls to the wrong team where they don't develop quarterbacks, he's going to be the exact same quarterback he was in college and just going off athleticism, and that's not going to work in the NFL. So I don't know where Anthony Richardson is going to fall, but it's not going to be 12. I'll tell you that. Fracture One also says, I would rather take a chance on Hooker from Tennessee.
Right, y'all going crazy with
I agree. I was making sure I wasn't tripping on that one because I wouldn't touch Hooker with a 10-foot pole.
Y'all getting crazy with these Richardson and Hooker. Like, if I'm not taking one of the top 3 guys, I'm not taking quarterback.
And if we're being honest, this year,
I'm gonna go get.
I'm waiting for next season to get a real quarterback. Anyways, I'm waiting for next season, not this season.
Well, and that's the thing, right? So, like, and that's why I said, if you're not in love with any of these guys and you don't think that they are the guy, then for me, I'm sorry. I'm just not gonna go and chase one of these other prospects mid-round, late round. I'd rather go and get a Baker Mayfield, try to get a Sam Darnold, a Jimmy G, a Teddy Bridgewater, like one of these guys where you're going to be okay. I don't expect you to blow the doors off of anybody.
Exactly.
But you're going to come in, you're going to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, we'll just call it a day, and everybody knows we planning on drafting a quarterback next year, right? Like I'd rather that than for us to go into the third round and go get Hendon Hooker and try to make him into something that pretty much nobody thinks
he's never going to be. That he's never going to be. Fresh one that says ex Brady signs with the Niners and then Trey Lance gets traded to the Titans. I saw that scenario on social media earlier today. I don't think it's going to happen, but I did bring that up over the last month about that situation of Trey
go
Lance
ahead, trade your one to
the Titans. I don't think it's going to happen, but because of the GM we just hired with the connection for the 49ers, I brought that up.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's a possibility. He also says, no, I'm not saying take Hooker. I was saying I would rather him if they don't take a QB at 2. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. I can see that.
All right, let's go ahead and move on because we have other stuff to talk about besides the Houston Texans. But I promise you we will be talking about the Texans more in a positive way here on the show moving forward instead of in a
about time.
Just a garbage. Time. I mean, if you continue to be garbage, we're gonna talk about you like you're garbage.
I'm about to say for a probationary period, I have decided that I'll pick them up as maybe my second team.
Yes, he did say this as well.
After the Chiefs, I'm for a probationary period because Cal McNair is still the owner, and so they're likely to still do some real dumb stuff. I'm waiting to see free agency and everything.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see all the Texan fans that went under hiding under a rock to come out and start talking shit to me again. That's what I'm waiting on. Anyways, all right, let's go ahead and move on to the second biggest hiring for today, which in any other day probably would be the biggest hiring because seems though we've been waiting for Sean Payton to get hired over the last year or so when he talked about entering back into coaching, and it seems as though that the Broncos might have picked up the sloppy seconds of what fell apart of this domino effect of the Texans hiring DeMeco Ryans. It seems as though that the Denver Broncos went ahead and hired their second choice in Sean Payton. If at the end of the day, when you look at it, it don't seem like too bad of a second choice to have. But does it also show how highly DeMeco Ryans is looked at, maybe amongst the league, to have multiple teams still fighting over him before he signs that ink to paper to make sure that he can still throw one more last pitch? It kind of reminded, I don't know about you guys, but it kind of reminded me of college recruiting, a high schooler trying to maybe go to Alabama or go to Georgia, and they try to hit you with that right before signing day. Hey, what about this? You know what? Maybe I need to go ahead and switch over to Georgia. Like that's what it felt like to me. And to see this go on for a prospect like DeMeco Ryans, it was very interesting. So the fallout to the dominoes was, of course, the Denver Broncos hiring Sean Payton. With that being said, Ish, I'm gonna throw this to you first. What all comes about with this Sean Payton hiring if everything is, of course, comes to fruition, because none of these hires are official just yet. But if they do hire Sean Payton, is there no excuse for Russell and how shitty he looked this past season? Do we expect the Broncos to have a winning record? Do we expect Sean Payton to have his just brilliance of a coach come back within a season? Like, what are we expecting from these Broncos? Ish, throw it on me.
I mean, if we're being honest, the reason why I think the Broncos were trying so hard to go after DeMeco Ryans instead of signing Sean Payton is exactly what has been reported in what they're giving up to get Sean Payton. They're 100%. Giving up a first round and then next year's second round, which when you think about the Denver Broncos this year, looking at that team, do we think that all of it was coaching? Do we think that they really are just a coach away from being a contender in the AFC? I mean, it's a stretch. I could say possibly.
They have the pieces.
They got some pieces, but at the same time, I mean, honestly speaking, unless we're getting the Russell Wilson from a long time ago, you're not expecting them to come back and be competing with the Chargers, for even second place in the AFC West.
We don't know how the Chargers are
competing with the Chiefs.
The Chargers ain't nobody that the Chargers are the West Coast version of the Bills.
But that's the problem, right? And here you go with Denver going all in yet again in the second off season in a row, because really that's what they're doing right now. They are going all in on Sean Payton, and they are telling everyone, we think that we are a coach away from competing in the AFC. That's what this move says to me. So for Broncos fans, Broncos organization, you're not just hoping for a winning record. You're hoping to compete for the AFC West and be one of the top contenders for the AFC. Anything short of that, this is going to be looked back as a terrible move. I'm sorry to say, it's not something that DeMeco Ryans, you can say we're building for the future. Sean Payton hire, you're looking to compete now. Next year, they have to be competing for the AFC.
Sasha, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, they, like we were saying before, they do have some pieces, but you have to win now with Sean Payton. And I mean, that's a tough division too. I mean, you got Mahomes, whatever the Chargers are trying to do, whatever the Raiders do at quarterback, it's a tough division. So we'll see. I mean, the Broncos, they had Javonte Williams out, a couple pieces out. They can be right back. I mean, they gave up Bradley Chubb, but they'll be right back. I think they'll be back. You have
a shutdown corner in Surtain.
Yeah,
literally a shutdown corner, right? I mean, you have offensive pieces, Jared Judy and Sutton on the offensive side. Again, a lot of us wanted to blame, of course, Hackett first, right? And then we saw how bad Russell Wilson was. We're like, oh, let's blame Russell Wilson. And then it was just like, everybody's kind of bad. Let's just blame the whole team. And then, of course, Hackett got fired and nothing got better, right? Russell was kind of done for the season, and then the Broncos just finished the season. So they get a mulligan just because of the way that everything started and the way that Nathaniel Hackett pretty much got thrown under the bus since the beginning.
Yep.
From week 1 until week 18 of next season, that Broncos team will be under a microscope because of the Sean Payton hiring.
Yep.
And from who he hires as a DC, from who he hires as an OC, we're going to see real quick if this, like it said, are they a coach away? I want to say maybe yes, because we don't know which Russell Wilson we're going to get just yet, because I don't believe that. I don't believe of last year Russell Wilson. Like we can make all the jokes on social media all we want to, but that's still a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Now he don't play like he did as a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but he can still sling that thing. Let's put him in a better offensive system.
Yeah.
Let's get him into. Let's make sure that he can get the ball into the weapons that he has around him, and let's then judge him appropriately. Right, but I will also say too, though, Russell did look a little old last season.
Yeah, just looking like a back in my day kind of guy.
You are correct. You are correct. So he's not going to get any better moving forward, no matter what TB12 method you take. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Let's get to the comment section right quick. Fresh one that says the Texans are that nerdy dude in high school who pulls the baddie, as he talked about DeMeco Ryans before prom. Also, Lee was talking about coaching choice. He said third choice pursuing Harbaugh really heavy as well. I honestly didn't think that would come to fruition.
Yeah,
but that just
they flirted. That's about.
I mean, that's what you got to do when it comes to seeing who might take the bait. Fresh one also says Broncos all season looked unprepared every week to play. I truly believe Sean will have them looking much better by week 8. I mean, I agree. It just looked like they were a middle school, high school football team. I mean, just too much talent. The people that came to play were the professionals on that football team. The professional football players. They got themselves ready, like I said, with Surtain and a couple other guys. Bradley Chubb wanted to get out before the ship started sinking. We saw Von Miller obviously went to Buffalo. You know, some of them guys wanted to get up out of there. They didn't want to be part of a rebuild. But this is a great for both of these organizations, the Houston Texans and the Denver Broncos, for them to, I think, hit a home run for both of these hires. Shout out to them. Now, we really are going to judge both of these organizations over the next 4 years and see how this all plays out, because in reality, both of these teams and both of these coaches will be connected with one another moving forward. Because imagine if DeMeco Ryans went to the Broncos and is able to build this defense up and do the things that they wanted to do on the defensive side, and Sean Payton came to the Texans instead, and did his offensive thing here in Houston, that's something that we'll talk about, like I said, 4 years from now when we look back on this hire. And, of course, a shout-out to Coach Wolfen. He said Coach Wolfen would have done a better job as head coach.
That's a lie. That is a lie.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing. I don't know about now.
A good coach raises the floor of your team. So he was saying week 8, no, they need to look better right out of the gate. They need to show that they're better starting off, because they're going to have this whole offseason with him, and he's a veteran coach, so they better show us something instant.
You heard it here, XtalknIsh, from my boy William. He said show about week 1. He ain't gonna have it, okay? He not no more week 8. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up the NFC Championship game and recap that right quick. And I was definitely wrong on the pregame show, besides just the picks, because I got mine wrong again this week. It seems as though Ish and I be flip-flopping. Ish got all the wild card picks right. I got all the divisional games right now. Ish get all the conference championship games. So that means I'm going to get the Super Bowl right. That's what it seems as though, right? So with that being said, with this game, I was hoping that this one was going to be a lot more competitive, and I was thinking that this was going to be the better game of the two. Boy, was I wrong. This game was definitely not it, and it was not it from the beginning. I mean, you could not have started a game as bad as the 49ers did, at least in the conference championship game. When you talk about the wheels fell off, I mean, Jesus, the wheels fell off for the 49ers, and nobody feels sorry for them, right? Like, nobody in the NFL is going to sit around and say, oh, the poor 49ers.
I felt sorry for D'Amico Ryans.
And we'll talk about that in a second. But a lot of people might not feel any type of way about the 49ers, but it just goes to show you how deep their team is too, right? For them to still get to the NFC Conference Championship game with their third-string quarterback starting and then having to replace him with a fourth-string quarterback who's been literally all around the NFL, I mean, you have to look at that team like, damn, like this is really a good team. Now, they still have very, very even more now with Brock Purdy getting hurt, even bigger questions at the quarterback position, because a lot of people locked in Brock Purdy as the starter for the 49ers week 1 next season. And that could be in jeopardy with his injury taking about maybe 6 months to heal. So it'd be interesting to see what happens in training camp, because now it seems as though that maybe Trey Lance might have an opportunity to still compete for, the QB1 position. So with that being said, let's recap this game first. We'll talk about all the outcomes of everything that happened within this game. Sasha, I'll start off with you. Are the Eagles as real as they proved it to be in this NFC Conference Championship game?
I would say so. Yeah, I mean, they didn't have to throw as much. The game was, like you said, it was done before it even started. I think the Eagles are for real. That the defensive front line is tough. They really didn't have to do too much offensively. They just really ran the clock out. So they got your boy A.J. Brown too. So I really think that they're for real. I think they're for real.
And as you can see, Sasha loves bringing up the past for me. A lot of people think that I'm mad or I'm sad about this. If anything, if I'm being honest with you, I'm like you when it comes to, you got to let go of the good players to be released from our shitty organization, because they will not prosper in our offense that is shitty. I love our organization, not me. I'm talking about my bad. I was talking about you as a Houston Texans fan. Shitty organization, not me. My bad. I'm talking about our offense. Our offense is not great enough to have a great player like AJ Brown in that system. Anyways, he deserves to fly high with the Eagles. He deserves all of his roses that he's getting right now, and I hope that he goes out there and win a Super Bowl. And when people try to throw that back on me, it's really not any hate on my part. I enjoy AJ Brown. He easily could have been the best wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans. But it also goes to show you that's the reason why the general manager for the Tennessee Titans got fired as well, because look at where the Philadelphia Eagles are at this moment, because I think that A.J. Brown was that number one that they needed to help solidify that wide receiver core. And also, like I've stated with Ish from week 1, also within the whole season with the Philadelphia Eagles going all in from off-season moves, in-season moves. I mean, it's really remarkable. Just like I talked about the 49ers, the team that the Philadelphia Eagles have been able to create this past season. And it looks as though that it could be a Super Bowl winning team. Let's get to the comment section right quick. Lee says, I watched the clip today with all of Hassan Reddick's sacks and quarterback hits, all 6 He was being blocked one-on-one with a backup tight end 4 times, with a bigger wide receiver twice. The fuck kind of scheme is that? Yeah, I mean, that's really what it came down to, right? I mean, that game, and also we'll get to the AFC Conference Championship game too as well. A guy named Chris Jones getting matched up one-on-one. That kind of maybe seemed as though that determined the game itself too. But you got to show also a lot of credit to the defensive coordinator for the Eagles in scheming up that defense to make sure that you get one-on-one, because it also, it's on both. It's on the offensive coordinator for the Niners not adjusting, and it's also for the defense coordinator as well for putting his players in the right position to be successful. So it is both parties when it comes to what we saw with Hassan Reddick. Now, a lot of people, especially in Philadelphia, feel that he might have gotten slighted for not being a part of the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. But I promise you, any defensive player will take a Super Bowl over any Defensive Player of the Year any day of the week. I could be wrong, but you can ask J.J. Watt. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying. Christine also says maybe don't put a backup tight end as the only protection for your quarterback against Hassan Reddick.
I mean, you have Kittle, one of the best blocking tight ends in the game.
Again, that goes towards the OC. Ish, I want to hear what you have to say. I know you felt some type of way about what was going on in that one-on-one matchup with Reddick.
I mean, first and foremost, EAGLES. Man, I mean, let me just say,
Black Rocky.
I called it, man. I called it from the very beginning of the season.
He ain't gonna never let me down. He ain't gonna never let me forget this, Sasha.
I said it. Everybody, thank you, Christine. Everybody laughed at me when I picked the Eagles. Everybody thought I was crazy. Everybody was like, "What? The Eagles gonna win the Super Bowl?"
Here you go.
And all they have done all season is made me look right. They have made me look right because they have been that team all season long. Are they for real? Damn right they're for real. We wanted to see whether or not Jalen Hurts was healthy. Hey, that man is ready to go. And let me just say this, that Eagles offense, they have something that I have not seen a lot of teams have this season, and that has been the difference when they play teams. They have that killer instinct. They are out there to finish boys. They are not here playing around. They are there to finish you. And that defense has made plays all season long. And one of the things we talked about before this game, we talked about, hey, that defense, how are they going to adjust to Kyle Shanahan moving people around, moving all these guys around? Well, let me just say this. My bad, Eagles. I should have said, how is Kyle Shanahan going to adjust to the Philadelphia Eagles moving all the pieces around on that front seven? Because that is what happened. They were moving these boys around. Hassan Reddick was moving around, and when they would find where he was, well, it's too late. You already got him one-on-one, and the adjustment can't be made in the middle of the play. It's got to be something that you game plan for ahead of time, and they didn't have the right game plan ready to go, and the Eagles made them pay early, and it was over early.
Yeah, early and often, and a storybook type of ending for Brock Purdy that the NFL, I guess, was trying to write for him.
The script
definitely did not come to fruition. When the shiny new toy comes into play in any sport, football, basketball, baseball, whatever it is, you have the media darling, you have the story, right? I remember in basketball with Insanity, a good basketball player, but let's be real, he was never going to be a Hall of Famer.
Never.
But a guy like Brock Purdy, we don't know if, everybody wants to say, oh, he's going to be the next Brady, right? Because the way he started in his career, and let's let these guys play out. I said the exact same thing last week, and I don't want to repeat myself, but we are so quick to judge and crown people after making less than a season worth of starts.
Well,
I don't know what is wrong with our
football,
what is wrong with our social media, our media. I'm not just media. I'm sorry. I don't know what is wrong with our world nowadays. I understand social media and this microwave society has us trying to debate and try to make this and that a thing. But can we at least play one full football season before we out here talking about this guy's better than such and such? And for Brock Purdy, he's going to have to
UCL.
Huh?
Now he has to come back from this UCL.
That's literally what I'm talking about. That's literally what I was about to say. Now you're coming back from not just having a great season, but now you got to physically get right, and I'll mentally get back right, because this type of injury is not really common in football players, more common in baseball players.
Yeah, Tommy John.
But it's going to be, if he can't throw the way that he used to be able to throw, which he should be able to. After this surgery, he should be fine. Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with what the 49ers do.
Training camp is going to be interesting with San Francisco. I mean, talk about the quarterback battle of what? The half. One has one leg, one has one arm.
Yeah, it went from things are looking real good over here in San Fran to things looking.
I mean, I guess you're hoping you get Rodgers or Brady. If you're a San Fran fan, you're hoping you get one of them, because there's no guarantee Lance comes back and looks. I mean, he didn't look as good as Purdy did.
Derek Carr.
Oh, man, shut that Derek Carr nonsense up. Derek Carr need to go be
I mean, he might be trash all y'all, but again, all you need to do is have him get the ball to your playmakers. Let them do it. Let them eat. Like, it ain't that hard.
Yeah,
Derek Carr can do that.
Go be a backup somewhere.
Man, you so disrespectful, bro.
Pro Bowl.
Man, first of all, we are not going to bring up no Pro Bowl accolades. I just had to go back with a guy that's going to tell me all pros is equal to Pro Bowls. I'm done talking football with people. I'm going to smack people aside the head. Okay, so let's not do that right now.
They're giving out them Pro Bowl.
Shout out to
they're giving out the Pro Bowl.
He says, once the NFL gets tape on you, it's difficult to maintain the same dominance, and that is 1,000,000% correct as well too. I talk about that all the time, and Ish is my witness when it comes to. It's easy to run things for 6 to 8 games, but once teams get tape on you, everybody out here get paid for a reason. Everybody out here gonna do their homework on you.
They're gonna make the adjustments.
So once they make the adjustments, can you make the adjustments? And that's one thing that makes a quarterback, like we're going to segue into right now, Mr. Patty Mahomes, makes him so special, being able to do what he was able to do on Sunday. And look, we can doubt the Billy Goats, and we can talk about he's not going to be able to get past the Bengals and this, that, and the third, because I was the one that said it. I have no problems owning up to it.
Yeah, own it.
I have no problems.
Own it.
He is good. He is great. He is whatever is advertised that you want Patrick Mahomes to be, and he played another Michael Jordan-esque type of game in a big game to lead his team back to a Super Bowl. But here's the kicker. You want to be Michael Jordan or you want to be LeBron James? And what I mean by that is, look, LeBron James got to the title plenty of times, just never came away with it. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with getting it, but getting to the Super Bowl, last time I checked, we look at Tom Brady a little bit different than Jim Kelly. So with that being said, not comparing the two, I'm just saying you got to get there and win. Now, if Patty gets back, with Patty being back in the Super Bowl, and he's not able to win one again, and mainly, let's be real, if we're looking at this game, even though the game is a pick'ems at the moment, which we'll get into very shortly, will people give Patrick Mahomes a mulligan for not winning this upcoming Super Bowl due to the team that he's facing?
I don't think so.
Start it off, Sasha. Let us know. Come on.
No, I think he needs to win. Well, he doesn't need to win this one, but if he loses, it's not going to look good for his legacy. To be honest with you, I mean, yeah, he's on one leg. Well, he'll be better, but
I don't know. He looked good. He looked good in the AFC Championship game.
He did look good.
He did look good in 2 weeks. I think he'll be all right.
I'm picking them. To be honest with you, I think the Chiefs going to win, and he has to have this one. He has to have this one. Like, if he loses, like, I'm not gonna, like, no, he can't lose. So At the same time, I mean, you have Eagles defense, and they're gonna plan accordingly. Jonathan Gannon over there, so we'll see. We got to see what weapons come back. I mean, he's gonna have Travis Kelce, but at the same time, is Juju coming back? Is Kadarius Toney coming back? We'll see.
I'll hold on to Ish's statement for right now until we actually get to the game. Let's wrap up this game first, right quick, with the Bengals and the Chiefs. What I want to throw to Ish right quick is, Ish, do you feel as though that the Chiefs were disrespected with all the Burrowhead talk and all the talk that the next shiny new toy, like I just talked about in the previous segment, Joe Burrow is the next guy, is the guy, not Patrick Mahomes? Do you feel like, they heard all the noise, they heard all the chatter, they wanted to be professional, respectful throughout the week, but do you feel as though this one was one of those, we heard y'all, we took advantage of the opportunity, and we're back where we're supposed to be? Ish.
Bro, yeah, they heard it. Okay, we all heard it. We heard it. We heard what y'all were saying. We heard all that talk about Burrowhead. We heard about the 3 in a row. We heard about how they the new kids on the block. And we heard the same disrespect y'all still out here spitting all day. This nonsense y'all are talking about. Patrick Mahomes must win this Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, this, that, and the third.
Mm-hmm.
We already made the statement, all right? We done told y'all 5 in a row. Who's done that before? 5 in a row.
Tom Brady did 7, but continue.
Oh, but that's why he's the kid. That's why
continue. That's what I say. Right? He ain't the GOAT.
That's why
he's the
GOAT in waiting.
Okay,
just give him some time.
No, win a couple more. Career. Win a couple more.
Tom Brady wasn't doing 5 in a row at the beginning of his career. He's just at the beginning. Like, come on.
He got to the bowl and won that hoe.
Like, this man.
He didn't have to get there 5 times in a row. But continue.
Mahomes is still the best quarterback, I think.
Yeah, he is. And guess what? If you best, go out there and go show everybody you're the best on Sunday.
This slander is getting too much, man. This man finished the game. He's out here he only had like 3 wide receivers. Everybody else got hurt. They only had
y'all have 35 wide receivers in the stable. Y'all pick up.
I
was waiting for Terrell Owens to come out of nowhere. All the wide receivers y'all have? Come on, now I want to hear that.
Nah, bro. It was Sky Moore.
The system is tailor-made to be a wide receiver in that system.
They only had 3 guys out there that were healthy to play wide receiver to finish the game, and they still found a way to win the game. He still made it happen.
I'm not going to even get into the questionable play calling amongst the referees. I am not going to go there because there are plenty of games to be played. There are plenty of opportunities the Bengals was able to make to try to win that game. So I'm not even going to go there. I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to go there. I feel as though the Bengals missed out on a very, very big opportunity. I feel as though that they had that game in hand. Like they had an opportunity to
lose.
Thank you. And with the emotion that poured out, and we're not going to look at the Osai play as that one play that determined the game, because I don't think that it did. It helped, of course, obviously move the ball up to kick the field goal to win the game.
Yeah.
But that one play, if you 300-some pounds, you're running full speed, and you expect that guy to stop on a dime, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I of course felt bad for him, and we saw the emotion within his team pour out, and that's raw emotion. That's real. That's something that Ish and I have seen and heard since high school.
Yeah.
After an emotional game, this is an emotional game because the stakes are involved. You don't know if you're coming back. You don't know. So it's interesting how this is all going to play out because we've been looking at the Bengals as flukes, right? We've been looking at last year that was a fluke. That was not going to happen again. This year they got back to the conference championship game, but they still have question marks with them. But also too, the Bengals still have opportunities to continue to get better. They still have an opportunity to get that offensive line right, to get Joe Burrow better. They still have their window that's still intact to make another run at it. So I don't think both of these teams are, of course, moving forward. The Chiefs, of course, they're not going anywhere. But the Bengals, maybe the Bengals are what we thought the Bills were going to be.
Yeah.
Right. So it'd be interesting to see what happens, how all this plays out. I know. Again, I know I'm ragging on Patty, but on at the end of the day, you got to pay respect where respect is due.
1, 2, 3,
is that
Cabo.
I'm happy you brought that up because first of all, that's Cancun on 3.
Oh, Cancun on 3. My bad.
I'm happy you brought that up because, and I hope Lee's on here because, like I stated to him a couple weeks ago, the reason why Patty Mahomes been having such a great season because we haven't heard anything from his wife and his little brother. Now that we finally heard something from his wife, now the Chiefs gonna lose. That's what you get.
Damn.
That's exactly what you get for having her finally come out of her horse stable and talk mess on Twitter for thinking that you have any right to say anything. Shut your ass up and know your damn role, you jabroni. So you like how I did that there, huh?
Hey, Ish. So if Mahomes loses, you give him a mulligan, Ish?
Now, you know what? Let's go ahead and just segue into Super Bowl 57. We're going to go ahead and move on right into the game. At the moment, the Chiefs, of course, will be the away team. The Eagles will be the home team. The Eagles at the moment are a 1.5-point favorite. That line has been changing for the last 2 or 3 days from 2 points to 1.5.
Yeah.
And also as they pick them. So most likely going into that game is probably going to be a pick 'em type of game. And I think that's very interesting because I feel like how dominant the Eagles have been over the last couple of games. I thought they would really come into this game maybe favored by at least 3 because of just with the Chiefs coming off the injuries and us. That's just how I saw it. But for it to be such a close spread, that's Vegas doing their Vegas magic. Sasha, you have a question. I want you to repeat your question, and we're going to throw it around the round table and go from there.
All right. So if Mahomes loses, Ish, does he get a mulligan from you?
I mean, he doesn't necessarily get a mulligan, but it's just another, it's another opportunity. He's going to have to learn from it and just, hope that he gets back to it. Because, in the NFL, it's not easy to make it back to a Super Bowl. It's not easy to make it back to a conference championship game. So it's one of those things that when you get there, you got to find a way to get it done. And he's been blessed enough to, to now make it back to a third one. And hopefully he's going to be able to get it done. But if they lose, it's not necessarily a mulligan. It's just, another part of his legacy that he's going to have to, continue to work through and find a way to get back again. I think it's similar in the LeBron. I like that you brought up LeBron earlier, X, because I think it's similar in that nature, right? Like a lot of people are still willing to debate
the GOAT.
LeBron, LeBron the GOAT over MJ. No matter how many times he lost in the finals, he made it to the finals, right? It's hard to make it to the finals, and I think it's going to be similar to for Patrick Mahomes, however long he is able to be in the NFL, and however successful this team is able to be, moving forward in the future. I think the debate will always be for him. A lot of people are going to say, it doesn't matter that he, went and he lost to Tom Brady. It doesn't matter if he goes.
We got to throw Jerry West in there. Then we got to throw Jerry West in there. That's the case.
I mean, hey,
you go to then.
I think there's clear. You can see whether or not somebody is that guy, and I think everybody sees Mahomes is that guy. Now, what you're talking about is the purist who think, hey, if you're that guy, then you got to find a way to win these games. And he did last week. He found a way to win the game.
Yeah, so what's the excuse then?
Is he going to be able to find a way to win the game, against this Eagles team? That's the story that we got to wait and see.
Now, I'll say this. Look, it really just comes down to how he plays. If he throws 3 interceptions, 175 yards, and he gets dominated by his defense, there ain't no mulligan. You played horrible. And that's going to have a little stain on your resume.
Yeah,
but guess what? What, though? Every quarterback from Brady to Manning to whoever you want to throw out there has some type of stain on their resume that people will always overlook and say, oh, we don't care. Look at the good stuff, right? So that's what Patrick Mahomes has for him right now, to where he's so likable and he's been able to do things in his 5 years of his career to where people are like, okay, he lost, who cares? You know, he had a bad game. Oh, worst game of his career. He could bounce back from it. Let me slow it down a bit, because he is Patrick Mahomes. With that being said, it really just comes down to how he plays in this upcoming game. I don't think he plays bad. I think he plays throws for 65% or 65-70%, 2 touchdowns, 240 yards.
Yeah.
Maybe an interception, but I don't think he goes out there and just throw the ball lackadaisical. I think he's smart enough and he knows this defense enough, as he talked about in the post-game presser, that he's watched this Eagles team. He knows how good they are. I think we all know how good they are. And he's going to make sure that he gets the ball out of his hand. I don't think he sits back there and just play patty cake, wait for Tyreek Hill to get wide open, because he's not there anymore.
Exactly.
So it's going to be a different type of Super Bowl for him this year, of course, without Tyreek Hill being there. But more of the same when it comes to the same guy being there instead of Brady. And now we have Patrick Mahomes being back in the Super Bowl. But Mulligan, when I say Mulligan,
it's not something you're going to hold against them.
It's wrong of me to talk down on somebody that's making it to a Super Bowl on a consistent basis, right? And I'll be the first one to say, yes, it is. It is. But if we're going to put you in elite tier, if we're going to put you in GOAT status, if we're going to put you, these are two different conversations, right? There's the Hall of Fame, and then there's the real Hall of Fame. I'm talking about in football. Deion Sanders talks about it all the time. I'm talking about guys that go by one name, right? Prime Time, the Sheriff, certain guys that are, when you think of Hall of Fame. Then you have the people that's in the Hall of Fame, like, how the hell did this guy make it? That's what we got going on right now, to where Patrick Mahomes has an opportunity to be, oh, yeah, that was Pat Mahomes. He was a gunslinger. That boy good as hell. He played 15 years, went to Super Bowl 7 times, won 1 Super Bowl.
Ooh.
I mean, think about that, right? So let's let this play out, and then we'll have this conversation when it gets done. Lee says, Eli Apple deserves to hear shit talk from anyone. Wife, brother, cousin, it don't matter. I know my wife, as a Saints fan, she is a very big fan of Eli Apple. That is a lot of sarcasm coming out of my mouth right now, and I know she is smiling listening to what I'm saying at the moment. Fraction One also says 2017 World Champs, Warriors, Astros, and then the Eagles. 2022 World Champs, Warriors, Astros, and the Eagles will repeat history itself, ? Lee also says, what this year has taught me is he's the boat, and Brady is still the GOAT. Long ways to go to be the GOAT, but a lot of time left. Now, again, too, when I talk about sports and I talk about life, I try to keep it realistic, because everybody hates when I do that. We saw Andrew Luck retire early because of injury, right? I'm not wishing this upon Patrick Mahomes. I'm not wishing this upon anybody. I'm just saying there is no guarantee for anybody that plays a physical sport of them being able to have a 10, 15, 20-year career. What Brady is doing is unheard of and should not be done, okay? He's doing things that is absurd, and we don't know if Patrick Mahomes can emulate that. We don't know if Patrick Mahomes even wants to play 20 years. He might say, I want to play 15 years and I'm done, right? So let's appreciate what we're watching. Let's appreciate LeBron James and Madison Square Garden at the moment, because like we saw with Kobe Bryant just 3 years ago, this shit could be gone real quick. So let's appreciate it. Let's love it. Let's enjoy this thing we call life, and we'll go on from there. Of course, we have little man in the background. I know Sasha got the little man in training over there, trying to be the next best athlete over there in the house.
Oh, yeah.
Already. All right. So we will join everybody not next week for the Pro Bowl, because we call that the joke bowl. We don't do that over here. Especially going into flag. And I'm not gonna lie, I might tune in for like 5 seconds and then I'll look away. But for the most part, I'm not tuning into that. So we won't be back for next Sunday, but we'll be back, of course, Super Bowl Sunday to preview the Super Bowl and give our Super Bowl picks. We're not gonna do it right now, because y'all gotta wait. We gotta give y'all a little teaser, of course. We can't give y'all the whole entree just yet. We gotta give y'all the appetizer. We'll see y'all Super Bowl Sunday to preview our picks. And then, of course, we'll see y'all once again on Tuesday to recap, obviously Super Bowl 57, and of course Rihanna's performance and all the commercials and all the wackiness
Beyonce.
that goes on. Oh,
All
Stephen
right,
A.
Stephen A.
All right, Stephen A. You better watch out now. You're gonna get them Rihanna stands on you. We're gonna get canceled. Not by the white folk. We getting canceled by Rihanna stands because of you, Ish. Nah, but on a serious note, we appreciate everybody once again for tuning in to X Talking Ish. I also appreciate my boy Sasha for joining us.
Man, thank y'all for having me on.
Please, before we get up out of here, please let us know, let everybody know where to find you. Throw your social out. Let the folks know, who you are. Let people know.
Mainly on Twitter, on Reddit a little bit, just mainly talking Texans.
Just
so follow me on there, trolling a bit. I'm gonna put out some draft stuff, so go ahead and follow me. Lock in. You know what it is.
So real talk, I do appreciate Sasha for being on. He's a very busy man. He has 2 kids of his own. I'm about to add to my little bunch. We all 3 of us got 2 kids about to be. Thank you, sir. We're all about to be 2 kid up. And of course, as you can see, black fathers do matter. And black fathers do out here put out the work, baby. We out here doing the damn thuck dizzle. Christine says, "Ish, remember who you picked before the season." So
who did you pick?
She just letting you know.
I picked the Eagles to win it all at the beginning of the season.
If it comes true, you gotta tip your cap to Ish on that one this season. All right. With that being said, we appreciate y'all as always for tuning in to X Talking Ish. This was a great night. Hopefully we'll have William again on the show later on in the future. Oh, especially maybe even for the draft. I know that's Fracture Walnut's favorite episodes is talking about the draft, and with you with some draft expertise, we might have to get you back on as well.
All right.
Other than that, we appreciate y'all once again. Enjoy the real rest of the night, and make sure y'all tune into the podcast as well too. We're close to 4,000 streams on there, so let's help us get the 4K, please.
Yeah.
See y'all in 2 weeks for Super Bowl Sunday.